Hi everybody, this is Ambi Parmeshwaran, your host for the next episode of AdAge India's AdAge Unicorns, where we have senior people from the marketing, advertising and media fraternity interviewing other senior high achievers from our exciting industry. So today I'm here to talk to someone who most of you would have seen, heard, in a forum, and a man who's reinvented himself at the age of 55 or 56, someone who's got training in fine arts but has dabbled in everything including digital media. So we have with us KB Sridhar, also known as Pops. So let me start, Pops, with the first question.
I'm Pops, not Pops to you, huh?
So how did this name Pops come about? Yeah.
It's a long story, you have to read my blog for that.
Tell us in a Twitter-sized comment.
Yeah, I think, when I was in Lintas, hired by Alec Padamsee, hierarchy was the thing. When nobody could, really jump the gun at any point in time, draft is carried out. So there was another Sridhar with a baby face and he was a trainee. And I joined as a creative director. Since they could not name me, they named that little boy as Baby Sridhar, and by default I have become Papa Sridhar and then Pops.
When was this? When did this happen?
This happened in early 90s, 1991 I think. Yeah.
Okay. So you joined Lintas from which agency were you in?
From Enterprise.
Okay. So Pop, let's start from the beginning. Where did this journey into advertising start? And tell us the story.
It's like nobody prepares for advertising, it just happens. By training, I'm a science graduate. I studied botany, zoology, chemistry from Osmania University, and I also studied fine art and painting from Gulbarga. Somehow, these two are contradictory to each other.
Yeah.
And then I dabbled with feature films as an art director.
Telugu?
And I started, Telugu
Gulti
films.
Films,
So, and then, my family belongs to theatre and films. So it was a natural choice for me to get onto the films. Then I dabbled with teaching, art.
All in Hyderabad?
All in Hyderabad. So I thought, if I take up teaching, I will get a lot more time to paint. Then I thought, maybe, it's not such a paying job. So I applied for Park Davis to be a medical rep.
Wow. Okay.
And
it's
then
getting more and more interesting.
Yeah, I got through. Then I had to make a choice, whether I want to have a very exciting life as a sales rep or whether I want to actually dabble with films, which is a bit shady, disorganized those days, and then not much of recognition for technical people like an art director. Unless you jump onto direction, there wouldn't have been much of a scope in that. And then, or teaching, which is the noblest profession, much more closer to my heart. But you will always be a pauper, you will never be able to finance your painting, nothing which you could do. That's when it struck me that I had a cousin, who used to run a graphic design studio.
Again in Hyderabad?
In Hyderabad. And then I thought, maybe I can use my skills as a painter, the creative part of it, and also somewhere advertising is a combination of art and science. So I thought that both can be used.
Interesting.
I can make money and then still I can be a little more creative. So that is when I switched with a lot of encouragement from my cousin here.
And so which was the first agency you worked in?
My first pre-agency before I jumped into an agency was a graphic design studio. There I learned the tricks of commercial art and design and stuff like that. It's called GDC, Graphic Design Studio, by my cousin called Rohini Kumar. From there I jumped to ASP. Those of you...
ASP Hyderabad.
ASP Hyderabad. This was in 78, 79. I was with my cousin, and 79 I switched to ASP. So ASP is where I got my first professional training. So I was taken in as a cut paste artist in the studio. So I hated it. Being a fine art guy, you never wanted to do something like that. But that disciplined me and then gave me lots of patience. And then I started, then I became an illustrator. Then I became a visualizer. Then I became an art director, all in a span of 13 months.
All in ASP?
All in ASP.
So when did you join Ulka? I know that, you were in Ulka before I had joined Ulka. So there's some stories about you in Ulka as well. So was Ulka after ASP, or was there another agency?
There were a lot of agencies.
Oh my God.
Okay. So I actually went and then asked, in spite of I being getting 3 promotions in a year as a kid, I went and asked him to transfer me to client services. Because those days advertising used to happen in compartments. So people used to sit separately. You had servicing guys, writing a requisition and sending it to the copy head. Copy head will write 3 lines,
give it to
3 lines, and then he will send it to an art director. You are supposed to visualize 2 of those 3 lines which you get. You knew nothing. So it is like modern times Charlie Chaplin thing. You are sitting in an assembly line. You don't know what the hell is happening before and after. Then I had to quit the agency because they said I was mad to go from creative to client servicing. So I wanted to know. I refused to accept my job as one, guy.
Yeah, someone putting a visual to a
without
headline.
knowing a bird's eye view of what you are doing. Then I dabbled with doing some business myself. I started an agency, and there, my focus went on to making more money. I made so much of money that I could holiday next 1 year in Goa. Still had lots of money. Then Ulka brought me back, DD Saxena came in here.
From Goa you came to Ulka?
From Goa I came to Ulka
Thanks to DD Saxena.
So that explains lots of rumors which you have heard about me.
Yes, about your habits in Ulka. Yes, those habits shall go unnamed, right? Okay.
No, I was never been born like Pops. Even I had a youth that I smoked, and I enjoyed life. So, okay. I had my own.
So that was Ulka in 86, right? 80.
Ulka was in 85, I think.
85. And then from Ulka you moved to
Ulka actually, it was very interesting. Ulka again,
you were actually running the Hyderabad branch, I was told.
I was running, Bal
Munkar helped dig it deeper into the ground.
Absolutely, when
I had a tough time, reviving it.
Yeah.
Even I gave up after 5 years.
Hyderabad is never a big market, never been a big market, and that's when Bal Munkar actually used to give me blank checks to really buy, Nawabi treasures.
Yes.
Such a wonderful man. You will never meet anyone like that, who again, taught me many principles of business and living well. So that was my Hyderabad stint. Then I said, you need to get out of Hyderabad to really. I used to have a friend who used to tell me that how long you will be in the regional network, come on to the national network. So that is when I made the switch to Bangalore. I started working with JWT, those days HTA.
Is that where you met Chax?
No, Chax and I met in Ulka in 85.
Okay.
We have been together as partners from 85 onwards. I think we have done our best work in JWT Bangalore, which is HTA Bangalore. I think we did some wonderful work. That is when television was becoming far more popular. Though we started our television work, much earlier in 84, 85, both of us together. But in post 86, when we did our famous work, Zakir Hussein's Vataj.
Yeah, I think Vataj was done, right?
Yeah.
Vataj was your campaign.
Woodward's Gripe Water. A lot of work which we did, AdAge. Who are out, the bending back. There are a lot of great television work which we had done together in JWT Bangalore.
So that that lasted how long?
That lasted, I think, 3.5 years.
And then
I moved to
Enterprise.
89. I moved to Enterprise. I was the first creative director Mahmood Khan has ever hired. You know. I was supposed to start their Bangalore branch. You know, as you know from whatever story I have told you, so I've been very good at starting up branches. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm
running them successfully is another side of the story.
So that's another side, you know, which there are people subsequently who are supposed to do that, but setting up offices has become quite a famous thing. So I started Bangalore Enterprise, and 6 months later, Chax joined me. In fact, I used to joke, Mohammed, even now also, you hired me because you wanted Chax. Correct. So Chax followed me. Otherwise, you know, even JWT also, we never joined together. Even in Enterprise also, I joined first and Chax joined later. It was only in Lintas later in 90, Chax and I joined together. In fact, Alec Padamsee offered us one check. He said, you know, I don't want any headache.
You figure out
how much money each of you
will take.
Want in that. I said, you know, we'll give you
so
one.
This was when?
This is 1991.
So that's when you moved to Lintas, Bombay.
Yeah.
And what are the big campaigns you worked on? Did you work on levers or
I used to work on levers. In fact, you know, I launched Shunu Sen, me and Arun Adhikari, you know, with Kiran was also
Kiran Khalap, right?
Not Kiran Khalap. Kiran used to be head of research in Unilever.
Oh, okay.
Kiran Jetli.
Oh, okay.
So we, launched the entire food division. Unilever never had, you know, especially, you know, Hindustan Liver never had. They had only basmati rice for export, which is Indus Valley.
Correct.
So I launched Green Valley for them, which is the frozen food. That is where we all had our learning about food, and then later I launched the entire Walls range for them in India, and then Pureit, and slowly a lot of other things.
So Lintas was how long?
Lintas was 4 years.
And then
till 94.
You moved to Leo Burnett.
Then I moved to Leo Burnett because Chax has already moved because of Arvind Sharma. So I said, you know, Chax, first you go and then join. And if Arvind is doing everything right, then I'll come. You know.
Okay.
So that was the deal.
Good.
And then we both used to have this wonderful deal. Chax and I, if he makes a mistake, he could, you know, I could hire him. If I make a mistake, he could hire me. So we never had job insecurities. So one of us could hire
the other person. So Leo Burnett was probably a long stint, right?
It's the longest.
You spent what, 8-9 years there?
No, Leo Burnett in 2 stints, I had spent more than 17 years.
17 years, wow.
My association with Leo Burnett is more than 24 years. I started in 94. And actually I was, you know, one of those things. I just got off Unilever and then got into Procter.
P&G, yeah.
And then I launched Camé with Sushmita Sen.
Yes,
you know, Sushmita Sen was hardly 18 when she actually won the Miss Universe. So I was, you know, Lever, Procter, he's been part of my life.
So 17, 18 years, one long stint in Leo Burnett.
In 2 stints. You know, I was in Leo Burnett.
What would be your kind of most memorable work you would have done in Leo Burnett?
There is a lot. I think, you know, the most memorable work would be Leo Burnett itself. Because the mandate was to make Chaitra into a Leo Burnett. So that was the huge mandate which we had. So first we had to actually get rid of a lot of smaller clients. 600 clients were there.
600 clients?
So we had to get rid of all of them and then, you know, concentrate on 13, 14 clients. It was Arvind Sharma, me, Rajiv Sharma, and Chax was the core team. And then we said 5 big campaigns will change the way industry will perceive us, and then we need to make disruptive business results to the client and disruptive image building for ourselves. So we picked up on Ariel, and then we did Ariel Husbands. And then we picked the Reebok.
The first Ariel Husband one, where the guy spills something on his...
कुछ खोने के लिए कुछ पाना पड़ता है, correct? And then we did Reebok. You know, the cricketers playing in the rain, Azhar, Jadeja and Rahul
Dravid, yes.
So it went on to compete with Nike in all award forums across the world. So that was the second one. The third one was Thumbs Up, you know, the bungee jumping one.
Yeah, that Taste the Thunder, huh?
Bungee jumping one.
Okay.
Correct. And then we did one for Coca-Cola, the Superstitions one. You know, Aishwarya keeps drinking. There are a lot of, you know, crowns all around her. And then we also did in the same year Goodyear. You know, Goodyear, the cars without the tires.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a hugely successful
Complan
campaign.
was also a very successful campaign.
And
right?
then the Complan always been very successful. More than Complan, there is a campaign which we did, which was one of the first very competitive advertising on television, which is brand H and brand C, taking on Horlicks in a talk show that Mrs. Subbalakshmi won.
Yes.
So, I mean, we did, and Bajaj.
The
KB125
Unshakable,
and then the Caliber Unshakable.
That was good. I mean,
Caliber Unshakable, and then the Forest Champion, Kyung Hero. You know, so at that time, you know, we had to actually discover ourselves, discover a new voice to the agency. None of these was Leo Burnett internationally, correct? And then only thing which Leo Burnett said is brand belief. Correct. Just go and then believe and then do what is right for the brands. And then the believers are going to actually propagate the brand. So the reason why non-believers would buy a product is exactly the reason why believers believe in that. So how can you find a product truth and a consumer truth and then marry them to create magical advertising? And we also did Fiat. You know, there's a lot of legendary work which came in within a span of 3 works.
Tell me, this is what you said, 17 years and two stints. So, how did it feel to leave this mothership and actually get into a very, very different area, which is digital, you know, the entire digital advertising domain? How come, how this big jump and why this jump?
See, why this jump? You know, nobody has ever asked me in 1983 when I made my first television commercial, you know, Pops, why are you changing from print to television? Nobody has ever asked me, because people thought it was a natural progression. When the mediums are changing, you know, when newer mediums are coming in, and then you need to tell the story.
But you must have done something to prepare for this, right? I mean, you can't, you know, someone who's a very good athlete cannot jump into the pool and say, I will start swimming.
No, always, you know, I've always wanted to be competitive. You know, I've always been, even now also. I mean, I don't show, but I am very aggressive within my own self. So how can you change yourself? You know, I compete with my juniors all the time. I don't compete with my peers. I don't compete with my gurus, because there is no way you can compete with them. You can only learn and then take the strength from them. So how can you reinvent yourself, you know, every 3 years, 4 years, when the things change? How can you change yourself? You know, there are a lot of changes which have happened from the time I started in advertising, which was compartmentalized. There was no color printing. There was no color photography. 3 filter separations we used to do. There were no computers. There were no typesetting. There was no radio. Right? I mean, there was no single page which used to happen. All the mats used to happen.
The whole concept of one-piece bromide. You remember that one-piece bromide?
Absolutely. From there to here, you know, even television also. You know, we used to shoot on 35 mm. There was no video assist to us. Even to do a small graphic, you know, on the letters, you know, or a pack shining, you have to come to Bombay and then cut the optics and then do that. Recording studios used to be bigger than this Western Outdoor Studios. There used to be 60, 70 musicians actually giving music to a track. So a lot of things, you know, technology changes, and then you keep on adopting to that, because that's the only way you can.
What did you do?
Keep yourself updated. You know, for me, fortunately, my science and art was intact. I was curious enough with my scientific,
So let's now start looking at Pops the artist. Okay.